This is Jamie TKV. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Hey Ari, hope you're all doing well. So the IBF have released their new rankings up and down their weight divisions, of course. In this video, as always, their heavyweight division. I'm going to point out the new top 15, see what changes have been made compared to the last time they updated their rankings, which was a little while ago. See what fights recently happened to justify their rankings, what fights have recently been made that we can look forward to as well, that could impact the rankings of the IBF. So if you are new to this channel and you are a boxing fan, click that subscribe button. It's free, it's brilliant, you'll love it. Anyway, so let's go through the top 15 of the IBF. The IBF World Heavyweight Champion is Oleksandr Usyk. Of course, he's unified heavyweight world champion as well, alongside with the WBA, the WBO, the IBO, and the Ring Magazine. Number 1 is the mandatory challenger, Filip Hrgovic. Number 2 is vacant. We'll speak about that in a minute. Number 3, Deontay Wilder. Number 4, Anthony Joshua. Number 5, Frank Sanchez. Number 6, Joseph Parker. Number 7, Agit Kabayel. Number 8, Andy Ruiz Jr. Number 9, Dillian Whyte. Number 10, Otto Wallin. Number 11, Mark Gassiev. Number 12, Martin Bakole. Number 13, Demsey McKean. Number 14, Luis Ortiz. And number 15, Jared Anderson. Mr. Anderson. So that's the top 15 for the IBF in the heavyweight division for the month of July. Dropped out this month, Carlos Takam. Surprised me a little bit that he got dropped, considering that his win over Tony Yoka is Martin Bakole's best win. Martin Bakole is, of course, ranked in this top 15. And a win over Tony Yoka is a better win than probably half of the people on this list. Is what it is, okay? The IBF made the decision to drop him, so it is what it is. Fresh insert is Mr. Anderson himself, Jared Anderson. Last time out, he defeated Charles Martin. He had a few hairy moments in that fight, if you like. He got rocked to his boots on a couple of occasions. Nearly got stopped in the final round. But he done enough to win the fight, so congratulations to him. Now, some people put it down to the fact that he was preparing for Zan Kosabuski. Zan Kosabuski had visa issues. I find that a little bit suspect. But apparently he did. Charles Martin was a later replacement by about 2 or 3 weeks, I think it was. But the reality is Charles Martin is pretty much a like-for-like replacement. He's tall, he's southpaw, and can punch a bit, much like Zan Kosabuski. But, of course, Charles Martin is a little bit more fragile around the whiskers than of what we've seen, at least, with Zan Kosabuski. So, if anything, it's probably a drop down a little bit. I feel that if Jared Anderson had fought that way against Zan Kosabuski, Jared Anderson would have lost that fight, probably by stoppage. But there again, who knows? Who knows? Now, I haven't given up on Jared Anderson, and hopefully a lot of other people have not. And if you have, maybe he'll prove some people wrong. Of course, he will be fighting in a few weeks' time, actually. So he's back in action against Andrei Rudenko. Not a fight that I'm too keen on for him, but I understand with somebody with only 15 fights, he's actually a pretty decent opponent. But considering that he could be the one for the future, and Bob Arum and Top Rank and all those around him were looking to fast-track him this year, maybe finish up the year with a fight against a Deontay Wilder or a Dillian Whyte, and these kind of guys. These are the kind of guys that Bob Arum was talking about. So I think that Charles Martin fight for Jared Anderson has reined the horses back a little bit to say, hold on a minute, let's not push him too far, because it could be the real deal. Let's not push him too soon. It could be that. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Other changes, I suppose the biggest change, surprisingly enough, is number 7, Agit Kabayel. He's moved up from number 10 to number 7. Now, he is the European heavyweight champion. Undefeated, of course. He's 23-0. Doesn't have a great resume, though, of wins, as in who it is that he's fought. Some of them have got pretty padded records, I will say. Arguably his best win is Derek Chisora 150 years ago. That's what it feels like in Monte Carlo, where Derek Chisora turned up without his coach, Don Charles, in his corner. But Agit Kabayel is one of these fighters who has always taken the path of least resistance. And it has. And it's a shame, because he's a pretty decent fighter. But he has. And he's not one to really test himself. He hasn't been up there calling out some of the names. You don't hear him calling out a Hrgovic or a Bakole or a Frank Sanchez or a Wilder. You know what I mean? he doesn't call out those kind of people. He just goes along his own little path. And he is a 2-time European heavyweight champion. And the reason why he's 2-time is because he vacated the European title originally because he was mandated, he was ordered to defend that title against Joe Joyce. He didn't want to do it. So he vacated the belt. So let's see what Agit Kabayel does going forward. He doesn't fill me with too much confidence, I will say. But, hey, you never know. Maybe he's biding his time. I don't know. Okay, so let's look at a couple of fighters here. Okay, so number 1, Filip Hrgovic, he is the mandatory challenger. And he will be taking on number 13, Demsey McKean. Demsey McKean, of course, is 22-0. And he is 6'7". He's a southpaw and can punch. Last time that Filip Hrgovic took on that kind of opponent was Dillian, and a lot of us seen what happened in that fight. There are potential excuses. There are only potential excuses as to what happened with the fact that he got to Saudi Arabia from America way too late, so he was severely jet lagged, literally right up to the point of that fight. Okay, that's one. Of course, his father passing away and whatever else was another one. Or maybe he had a bad night at the office, or maybe Dillian is better than what people give him credit for. Arguably, the win over Joe Joyce probably proves that, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how Filip Hrgovic handles Demsey McKean. Can he handle Demsey McKean? Demsey McKean, I done an interview with him, a podcast, some odd months ago when he was linked with Anthony Joshua and a couple of others. And he actually mentioned the name Filip Hrgovic, along with Otto Wallin and a couple of others that he'd like to fight himself. He wants to be tested, so this is his opportunity. Beat Filip Hrgovic, well, he's right in line for a shot at Usyk. Because right after Dubois, if Oleksandr Usyk is successful against Dubois, the IBF is up next. Which is why I always wondered why people don't call out Filip Hrgovic and try and nick his position. It's bizarre for me that people haven't done that. It really is. But anyway, that's the fight. That would be on the Joshua Dillian Whyte undercard. Okay, let's look at number 12, Martin Bakole. I know who it is that he's potentially fighting next. It's not signed yet, and I've known for about a week and a half, and it's a decent opponent. It is decent. It will surprise a few people, that's for sure. He's not a huge name, I will say that. I mean, or he certainly won't be outside the casual audience, but the hardcore will know exactly who it is that Martin Bakole's fighting, and a lot of people may pick Martin Bakole to lose that fight. They may. For me, I would favour Martin Bakole to win that fight. I would, only just though, only just. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if this guy beat Martin Bakole. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So it's a good test for Martin Bakole to see where he is, and it's a good test for the other fella as well. It is. Martin Bakole, of course, has lost once to Michael Hunter, and Martin Bakole's potential next opponent has only lost once himself as well. Okay, so I'll leave it there before I say too much. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Obviously, you've got number 4, Anthony Joshua, taking on number 9, Dillian Whyte. They've been August the 12th at the O2 Arena. That sold out within, seconds, minutes? So I'm sure Eddie Hearn probably looked at that and went, I should have really booked a stadium somewhere. I should have done it. Because the football season fixtures have come out, so you can see what stadiums are going to be free. So anyway, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. It's a very good fight. Huge props to both of them for taking it. And it's a potential end-of-career fight for either one. I don't think it should be, but for them, it might be. Okay, so the loser of that fight, there's quite a lot of jeopardy at it. That is for sure. So looking forward to that one. Number 6, Joseph Parker. That's going to be interesting to see what he does next. He says he wants a big fight next. But who? He has called out Andy Ruiz Jr. for a rematch. Of course, he holds a win over Andy Ruiz Jr. So if Andy Ruiz Jr. doesn't fight Deontay Wilder, okay, so let's see that fight then. Let's see. But by sound of it, Andy Ruiz Jr. is being a little bit difficult to deal with everybody. So I wouldn't hold up too much hope for that one. So in the meantime, I'd like to see Joseph Parker. Apparently he does have, 1 or maybe 2 more fights left in his contract, where he could fight in Australia. So we'll have to wait and see what he does over there. We'll have to wait and see. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up fighting a Luis Ortiz or someone like that. Why not? It's a decent enough fight. So Let's see what happens with Joseph Parker. Number 5, Frank Sanchez. People keep saying how he's a problem, he's a boogeyman, he's this, that and the other. Listen, he's got a very good win over F.A. Jagba. But Frank Sanchez, again, is a fighter who wants to build up a reputation without actually proving the reputation and relying on fans to boost that reputation. But I'm not too sure what it is that people are seeing that I'm not. Last time out, he defeated a journeyman, Daniel Mars. This is the kind of guy that he's fighting in his 22nd fight. And apparently his next fight is going to be Chris Arreola. And nobody wants to see Chris Arreola in the ring. I'm not too sure Chris Arreola wants to see himself in the ring. So I'll be very disappointed if that turns out to be true. Frank Sanchez, you need to step your game up. If you're going to be talking about world titles and all that kind of stuff and calling out this fighter and that fighter who are at the top of the game, then earn it. Prove it by defeating someone good. Chris Arreola won't get people looking at you. They won't. People just go, well, yeah, you're supposed to beat him. So a little bit more haste would be nice. I think that's probably about it that I'm going to talk about. Obviously, you got the champion, the IBF champion, Oleksandr Usyk. He's going to be taking on Dubois at the tail end of August. That'll be in Poland, being in a stadium as well. That's going to be full of Polish and Ukrainians. I don't know how many Brits are going to go over there. Don't be surprised of an upset. Do not be surprised of it. Don't be wrong, I wouldn't put money on it that I couldn't afford to lose, that's for sure. But you never know. You never know. So anyway, I think that's probably about it for the news. Obviously, we're still waiting on number 3, Deontay Wilder, and number 8, Andy Ruiz Jr. Are they actually going to get it on? We'll see. Anyway, that's top 15 for the month of July for the IBF. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you in the next video.